name is Keith Stanley. I'm the executive director of the Near West Side Partners, a nonprofit in the Near West Side of Milwaukee. We're doing some amazing things with some really exciting folks. We have 5 anchor institutions: Harley-Davidson, Miller Coors, Marquette University, Aurora Healthcare, and Forest County Potawatomi, who support our efforts, along with close to 30,000 residents and 30,000 people who live in there, who work in the Near West Side. Real quickly, just want to say a few things. I know we don't have much time, but for me, a couple things stood out as I begin to think about this play and coming to speak. I made sure not to watch anyone else's response, and so I can try to be as pure in thought as possible. But I want to talk a little bit just about the historical perspective for me. The historical perspective is when I think about our country, and I think about when we were founded, and I think about 1776, and I think about the Civil Rights Act, the first and second, 1965, 1968. The mathematics is pretty simple. Majority of time in this country, as referred to in the play we heard, there's always been laws on the books. About 80% of this country's time, since it's been in existence, about 80%, there's been laws on the books about people who share my skin color, whether it was black codes, whether it was enslavement. And to me, that is a fascinating fact about our country, that the majority of the time our country has been in existence, people who look like me had to deal with law, specifically in how they were to interact with the rest of the country. The other thing that sticks out for me is more of a, not historical, but generational thing for me. I remember my pre-teens watching, and many of you may remember this, my mom and dad made me watch a documentary on Emmett Till. And I remember how that seared in my brain watching the Jet magazine, or I think the Ebony magazine, picture front cover of the open casket of this young black man who was beat because apparently he whistled at a white woman in Mississippi. Along with that, I remember right before I went to Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama, I remember watching Rodney King and how that fuzzy VHS videotape of him getting beat and how that seared in my brain. And if I fast a little bit forward, just a few years ago, August 13th, 2016, what happened in my neighborhood, which I grew up in, Sherman Park, and how that affected me. I remember getting to the office and I see some of the staff members here. It was a rough time for me, and how all these activities begin to affect me. I just want to leave the audience, I think, with this thought. I think that every generation we continue to have these incidents, and I remember watching Mike Brown and watching him on the street on television for 2 hours, and how that once again must have seared in another young African-American male's brain about our country. I think ultimately it's up to us to decide if we are going to treat people who may look like me or may not, treat them with respect and dignity and with humanity. No matter what you feel about Michael Brown or many others, we all can cite that the police, our communities, and our country can do better when it comes to how we treat African-American males specifically. The last thing I'll leave with you is that I hear the stats that African-American men are 21 times more likely when they get stopped by the police to actually be shot and killed by the police. To me, that makes no sense, that you can dictate whether you're gonna die or live based on the color of your skin when you get stopped by the police. So I'm hoping that we can gather something from this artistic expression that can improve us as a community and as a country. Thank you.